The Werewolves Trilogy, 3-book box set. Written by K. Matthew. Narrated by Joanna Johnston. A Month with Werewolves. Chapter 1. No civilian had ever been inside the Blackfoot Werewolf Reservation before. They called it a reservation, but it was more like a relaxed concentration camp, where werewolves were separated from the rest of society to live out their lives peacefully until a cure was found for their condition. I had little interest in the subject until I was offered a chance to investigate the reservation for a journalism piece. Since no civilian had ever been allowed inside of the reservation, my report would gain worldwide recognition. It would be my big break, skyrocketing a career that I had been working hard at for the past 5 years. As I pulled up to the reservation, I took a deep breath. The outside of it looked like a prison, with a 13-foot-high perimeter fence surrounding the 1,000 acres of land. There was a small compound that I had to go through before I could get to the reservation itself. I would stay there for my first night, learning how the place was run, before they took me inside to live out the rest of the month with the werewolves. "Identification, please," a security guard requested as I drove up to the gate leading into the compound. "I'm Taya Ravine, journalist for the National News Network," I replied with a smile, handing the guard my work badge and driver's license. His body language emitted nothing but coldness towards me, as he gazed down at my cards with a deadpan expression before handing them back to me. "If you'll hang a right at the next turn and follow the road, you'll come to the visitor's center. There are signs leading the way. You can park your car out front, then go sign up for a visitor's badge at the front desk." I nodded politely before putting my yellow Volkswagen Beetle in drive and continuing down the road. If it weren't for the signs pointing the way, I probably would have driven right past the visitor's center. All the buildings in the compound looked the same, small and tan on the outside. The only distinguishing characteristic was the visitor center sign next to the door. I pulled into the parking lot and made my way inside to the front desk. Another, less than excited security guard took my identification again, before handing me a plain white clip-on badge with the word visitor printed on it in bold. "Take a seat," he said, gesturing towards a set of 4 black leather chairs that faced each other in front of his desk. "Thank you," I responded courteously, before flopping into one of them and pulling out my camera. There wasn't much to see in the visitor center, so my picture-taking was short. Just a few framed photos of wolves on the walls, gazing down upon me with very human eyes. I imagined that they were images of the werewolves in their wolf form. Out of boredom and curiosity, I stood to examine them more closely. This was a part of the process that I wouldn't be seeing, since I would be pulled from the reservation before the next full moon. A door at the back of the visitor's center opened, and a man stepped through it wearing a pair of starched khakis and a white button-down shirt. He looked young, in his late 20s, with slicked-down blonde hair and a pair of round framed glasses. "Ms. Ravine?" he asked, not even bothering to look at the clipboard that the security guard offered to him. "Yes." I turned, preparing to extend my hand as he approached. "I'm John Edward, lead coordinator. I will be your guide today." He shook my hand firmly, giving me the warmest smile I had seen since entering the compound. "Are you ready to begin the tour?" "Yes, thank you." I nodded, preparing to follow him out of the door from whence he had come. "Did you have a nice drive up here?" John asked as we walked through a small maze of identical buildings. "Yes, it's beautiful country." "That it is." My eyes wandered while we walked, wondering how long it took employees to memorize the layout of the compound with so few distinguishing landmarks. Surely there was a map that they gave new hires to help them find their way around. "It's a rather confusing place," I commented. "It can be if you're not familiar with it," he admitted, leading me to the door of one of the buildings, and then facing me to begin his speech. "This is the containment center. Whenever a detainee is brought in, we hold them here until after the full moon to make sure that they are actually infected. It can be a long process for some, but there's unfortunately no scientific way to determine if someone has the lycanthropy disease, so observation is key." Inside the first room was a small desk with a security guard. This man appeared to be friendlier than the last two, his eyes lighting up as we walked through the door. "Hey, John," he greeted in a voice that suggested he didn't get a lot of visitors. "Hey, Johnny," John replied. My eyes darted to the security guard's name tag. It must be interesting to have the same name as someone else, I thought, happy that my name was unique, even though I wasn't a big fan of it. "How is our detainee today?" John asked. "He's holding up pretty well. Would you like to see him?" That's what we're here for.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.